Chapter 6, Section 1 is about rational expressions. The word rational means fractional. So you're going to have what I call algebraic fraction. What kind of a fraction is called algebraic fraction? Its algebraic fraction is an expression which is formed by division of two polynomials. So you've got to have a polynomial on top and a polynomial at the bottom. These are examples of rational expressions: 2 over x, 3x over x plus 1, 6x minus 1 over x squared minus 9. These are what? Rational expressions. I call it algebraic fractions. However, make a little note, algebraic fractions must have a variable at the bottom of the fraction, but the top is optional. You may or may not have a variable on top. What does that mean? If the bottom has an x in it, that automatically qualifies that to be algebraic fraction, whether you have a what? X on top or not. However, if you have a number at the bottom, right, then this is not an algebraic fraction. As a matter of fact, this is 1 over 6x. It's a monomial. So rational functions must have x at the bottom. The top, you may or may not have an x. For instance, what I'm saying is, let's just add example number 2. I may have 6 over x squared minus x minus 6. Notice I don't have to have an x on top. As long as I have x at the bottom, this is considered to be an algebraic fraction. So what is the objective of this section, which is 6.1 in our textbook? We like to reduce these algebraic fractions into their lowest terms, and we like to multiply and divide algebraic fractions. So that's the purpose of this section, correct? So let's begin by reducing the fractions to their lowest terms. Let's begin by a simple fraction. How would you reduce 20 over 32 into its lowest terms? First, you find the factors of 20, which is 2 times 2 times 5. These are called prime factors. And then you find the prime factors of what? 32. That's 2 times itself 5 times. Then once you factor the top and bottom completely, then you cancel the common factors. So these 2's cancel once, these 2 cancel once, and all you get is 5 over 2 times 2 times 2, which is 5 over 8. So that's called the reduced form of this fraction. Same idea applies to algebraic fraction. First thing you do is completely factor out the top and bottom. This is a monomial, it doesn't factor, but the top has x in common, so that leaves you with x minus 5. Once you completely factor the top and bottom, look for common factors. You can cancel, these guys go away, so the final answer is x minus 5. Do you see it? The next example is x squared minus 3x over x squared plus 3x. So the top has, once again, x as the GCF. That leaves you with x minus 3. The bottom has an x as its GCF. That leaves you with x plus 3. Once again, the common factor showed up, so you got to wipe it out. So the final answer is x minus 3 over x plus 3. Do you see it? The next one is x squared plus 5x minus 14 over x squared plus 4x minus 12. Once again, I need to know how to factor these guys out. So chapter 5 was a prerequisite for chapter 6, correct? This is a special trinomial because the leading coefficients are 1 at top and bottom of the fraction, so I can guess the answers. 2 numbers, they multiply to negative 14, they add up to 5. I would say positive 7 and negative 2 should do it. 2 numbers, they multiply to negative 12, but they add up to 4. Let's see now, what would that be? That would be 6 and 2, positive, negative. But notice the common factor showed up, so x minus 2 divides into x minus 2 once. So the final answer is x plus 7 over x plus 6. Final answer. Do you see it? And the same goes for this guy. The leading coefficient is the very first coefficient has a 1, so I'm going to what? Split the x squared into what? X. But then I have y squared. I'm going to split that into y. Once again, give me two numbers. They multiply to negative 18, but they add up to what? 3, positive 3. Well, my guess is positive 6 and negative 3 should do it. At the bottom, I still have to factor this out. I'll have what? X and y in both parentheses because I got x squared and y squared. Two numbers, they multiply to negative 6, but they add up to 5. My guess is it will be, say, 6 and 1, is it? How about plus minus? That would give you negative 6. 6 minus 5 gives you positive 5. Once again, the common factor showed up, so wipe these guys out once. So the final answer is x minus 3y over x minus y. Box your answer because you are pretty much done with that problem. Sometimes we have to use those magic formulas. Remember, we learned in, when was it? A couple of sections ago. Did you know the top is difference of two squares? Did you know the bottom is what? Difference of what? Two cubes. So sometimes you have to use those magic formulas. So the top factor is as x minus 4 times x plus 4. The bottom, remember, is x minus 4 times this guy is squared, which is x squared. That guy is squared, which is 16. Then I have to multiply these guys out, which is what? 4x. The sign here, the middle term has opposite sign of what you put inside the first parentheses, and the side terms, they're always positive. Once again, the common factor showed up, so you gotta wipe these guys out once. So the final answer is x plus 4 over x squared plus 4x plus what? 16. And this guy never ever factors if it came from the formula. It's always prime. Prime means non-factorable. Okay, so how about multiplying and dividing? Well, let's see now. How did we multiply and divide fractions? Well, one method is to straight multiply the tops and multiply the bottoms, but the problem with that is you get such a huge number which you will not know what to do when it comes to reducing the final answer to its lowest term. So the idea is what? Either cancel what? Reduce the top and bottom of the same fraction or cross reduce. What I'm saying is 8 goes into 8 once, 8 goes into 16 twice. So there are two ways you can cross cancel, or I should say cancel the numbers. One way is top and bottom of the same fraction if they have something in common. Then method 2 is what? Cross cancellation. I can go 7 goes into 7 once, 7 goes into 21 3 times. So the answer boils down to multiplying those fractions, which I take these any time of a day over what I started with. So now I have to multiply the tops, multiply the bottoms. 1 times 1 is 1, 2 times 3 is 6. Final answer. So I hope that reminds you, refresh your memory. How did we go about multiplying two fractions? What if I got 3 fractions? No problem. That doesn't really put any dent in my calculations. You still have to what? Either go top and bottom of the same fraction, or you can cross cancel. When I say cross cancel, did you know you can cancel this guy with all the way with the denominator of the last one, as long as you go cross. You don't have to go immediate cross. Did you know you can cancel this 5 with all the way that 25? You could do that. Why don't we then? 4 goes into 4 once, 4 goes into what? 8 twice. 5 goes into 5 once. 5 goes into 25 5 times. But wait, I could also cancel the top and bottom of the same fraction. 3 goes into 3 once. 3 goes into what? 6 twice. I believe now I have 1 over 1, 1 over 2, 5 over 2. So now I multiply the tops, I multiply the bottoms, so I think I get 5 over 4. Final answer. Do you see it? You could write this as 1 and 1/4 if you prefer. How do you divide fractions? Well, you don't divide. You convert it to fraction, but then don't forget to write the reciprocal of this number, which is called divisor. So as the students say, we flip this. So that will be 2/3 times, not 6 over 5, but 5 over 6. So once again, 2 goes into what? 2 once, 2 goes into 6 3 times. So that's like 1 over 3 times 5 over 3. Multiply the tops, multiply the bottoms. So the answer is 5 over 9. So I hope that refresh your memory. How did we multiply and divide fractions? Now let's switch to algebraic fractions. Okay, ready? Watch this. 5 goes into 5 once, goes into 15 3 times. X goes into x squared x many times. Y goes into y squared y many times, but y stays at the bottom. This is as good as it gets. So what I have is what? X over 7y times 1 over 3. Is that right? That's all I got left. Multiply the tops, multiply the bottoms. How about x over 21y as my final answer? There is no need for LCD. Remember, LCD is only required for what? For adding and subtracting fractions with unlike denominators. When you come to multiplication and division, there is no LCD required. X plus 7 over x minus 7, 7 minus x over x plus 7. Well, first I'm going to cross reduce. This guy divides into this guy once. All I have is 1 times this guy, which is 7 minus x. 1 times that guy is what? X minus 7. But make a note, and C7 minus x is called what? The opposite of what? X minus 7. In other words, I'm dividing a number by its opposite. Notice the signs completely change. Positive 7 becomes negative 7, negative 7 becomes positive, negative x becomes positive x. So we call one of these guys opposite of the other guy. So what do you do when you come across to this scenario? What you could do is what? Factor out a negative 1 from either top or bottom, but not from both, either the top or bottom. What does that negative 1 do? It changes the signs here. So negative x becomes positive x. Positive 7 becomes negative 7. So now I have a common factor. So this guy divides into this guy once. So all I have is negative 1 times 1 over 1. So the final answer is negative 1. And that makes sense. Remember, if you have like 11 and divided by its opposite, negative 11, you always get negative 1. So that's why we came up with negative 1. Why? 7 minus x is opposite of x minus 7. Okay. So the next one is 9x over x squared plus 4x minus 21 times this mess. So before you get excited and cross things out, make sure every numerator and denominator is completely factored. This guy is a monomial, it doesn't factor. But this guy is a special trinomial. I can factor it as 7 and 3 plus and minus. Okay, this guy is a special trinomial. I can factor this guy as 4, 3 plus minus. This guy is a binomial, which they both have 3 in common, so that leaves me with x plus 4. So completely factor out the top and bottom of each fraction. And now you have a choice of wiping things out from top and bottom of the same fraction, or what? You can cross cancel. So you can cross cancel. So let's see what we got. I can wipe these guys out, top and bottom of the same fraction. I can wipe these guys out, cross cancellation. I can also divide 3 into 9 3 times. So looks to me, all I have left, 3x over x plus 7 times 1 over 1. So I got 3x over x plus 7 times 1 over 1. If you multiply the tops and multiply the bottoms, you get 3x over x plus 7. Final answer. Do you all see it? The next one is division, but very first step in dividing fractions is what? Change your division into multiplication. But don't forget to flip this fraction. So x cubed goes on top, x squared minus 5x minus 24 goes at the bottom. So notice we change the division into multiplication, but we flip this fraction. Do you see it? Okay, now we are back to multiplication. Completely factor out the top and bottom of each fraction. This guy is a trinomial. So you got 7 and 3 plus plus. This guy is prime. It doesn't factor. This guy is a monomial. It doesn't factor. But the denominator here factors. And that would be 8 and 3 minus plus. Okay, remember you can cancel what? Top and bottom of the same fraction, or you can do cross cancellation. So that means I can wipe these guys out. Then I can wipe these guys cross. So looks to me, all I have is 1 over 1 times x cubed over x minus 8. So if I multiply the tops, multiply the bottoms, I think I get x cubed over what? X minus 8. And that pretty much do it for those problems. 2 more examples and we should be done with this section. Sometimes the quantity shows up in what? As an exponent. When they do, so that means these guys are already in what? Factored form. So these guys already are in factored form. So do not expand these guys. Leave them alone. So what does that mean? That means I can go ahead and divide x minus 1 cubed by x minus y squared. Remember, I can do cross cancellation. What that means is divide this guy by this. Remember the rule of exponent was what? Write one of the bases and subtract the powers. So you get x minus 1 left. In other words, 2 of these cancels 2 of those, but you still will be left with 1 of these on top. Okay, anything else? Not really. So now you multiply that guy by, let's see now, this guy. So that will leave you with x minus y, x plus y. Then at the bottom, you have 7x squared, and that will do it for final answer. Do you all see it? So this guy divides into this guy, x minus y many times. But now there is nothing else for me to cancel either top or bottom or cross. So I'm left with x minus y times x plus y over 1 times 7x squared, which is this. This is our final answer. The next one is division. Remember what we do, various steps, very first step is to change that into what? Multiplications. Okay, don't forget to flip this. So x squared minus 2xy plus y squared over 5x minus 5y. So don't forget to flip the fraction. Okay, technically the correct terminology is reciprocate, or write the reciprocal of this fraction. Okay, now I have to completely factor these guys out. This guy is difference of two squares, so it factors as x minus y, x plus y. This guy is a special trinomial, which has x and y in both parentheses. They multiply to 1, you don't see it, they add up to 2, so it has to be 1, 1. This guy is a special trinomial with x and y in both set of parentheses. They add up to 1. They multiply to -2, so it has to be -1, -1. These two guys have 5 in common, so that leaves you with x minus y. So now that you completely factored, it's time to get rid of the common factors. How do you get rid of the common factors? Either you wipe out the common factors from top and bottom of the same fraction, or you can cancel things cross. That's it. You can never cancel across. Yes? So this guy gets to be wiped out with this guy, so that's good. What else? This guy gets to be canceled with that guy. What else? Anything else? Let me see. I think I am pretty much done here. So I multiply the tops. I get x minus y, x minus y. At the bottom, I get 5 times x plus y. So this would be x minus y squared over 5 times x plus y. If you really want to write the answer in a fancy notation or fancy format, x minus y times itself twice is x minus y squared. 5 times x plus y is 5 times x plus y, and that would be the final answer. Thank you.